Well, hello, welcome back everyone to Seasons of Motherhood. I'm very excited to introduce a friend of mine on the show today. We have Lois Benham-Smith, and I am so excited, Lois, to get into a conversation with you about your life and your journey and what God has been doing and where you are right now at the Atwell Center. So we have a lot to talk about today. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to introduce you, and we're going to get right into our questions to learn more about you and what God has been up to with you. So Lois, you are the executive director and the founder of Atwell Center, which is located in Oakville and in Hamilton. You are committed to ensuring that women in med are able to access caring support and empowered decision-making when facing an unplanned pregnancy. You welcome questions and comments about Atwell's work and vision for the future. Lois and her husband, David, live in Hamilton area and are proud parents of 3 adult children. So Lois, thank you for being with us today. And if there's anything I may have missed in that little introduction, maybe you can fill in any gaps.
Okay, I will, because I need to update that bio to say I have 2 little grandbabies. So
yes, that's what I mean. I thought there's something you wanted to add.
Yeah. So I do need to add that because they're pretty special little girls in my life, obviously.
Oh, I love it. So wonderful. Yeah, congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah. Time goes by quick, let me tell you.
Oh, yes, definitely. I can completely relate to that now, being at this side of parenting, right? After almost 25 years of parenting, I'm starting to look back and go, wow, I never would have believed it when somebody said I had that baby in my hands, that one day you're going to look back and go, what went by so quickly. But in some ways it did, and in some ways it didn't, right? It's just the way
Yes, and that old, sometimes, the years fly by, but the days are long is pretty true, at least from my experience.
Yes. I think we could both relate on that level for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, I would love to hear a little bit about your early beginnings of just kind of like your family and your upbringing and your faith journey, and a little bit about you and your.
Okay, well, I grew up in small town Ontario in a family that went to church maybe once or twice a year, maybe. My family were good, moral, hardworking people, but church wasn't just something we did as a family. So, but my parents did send me to daily vacation Bible school. And I remember as a kid putting my hand up as a young child to accept Jesus in my heart. And that's always been my moral compass. So, when I was doing stuff as a kid or a teen or whatever, stealing cigarettes from my dad or something like that, I was like convicted, or if I was cussing, I knew it was wrong. So it was all part of that. So just to encourage people that are, doing children's ministry, how important that is, because you don't know who you're actually, going to affect long term. And just, Sandee, your new book that's coming out or has come out, Can I Take It to Heaven? I just think children's hearts are so soft to the Lord that, good for you. And I think that's something I'm looking forward to reading to my grandkids.
Wonderful.
So just to encourage people out there, you're doing a great job if you're doing children's ministry, because it really does affect the long term.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love it. I love the fact that there's a ministry mindset early on with the church, so that somebody like yourself who was brought there has the opportunity to hear about Christ at an early age. And it doesn't necessarily mean that's a moment of decision, but at the same time, a seed is planted.
Oh, for sure.
In beautiful ways, God will grow it, just like he has done with your ministry at Atwell. Like, there's seeds planted that you had no idea. Look now today at 2024 thinking, how did I get here? But God was faithful. How has God been faithful in your life?
So just, that seed planting. So when I was a teen, I went to a youth group, actually to chase a boy, but hey.
That's okay, I've been there.
In serious ways, right? But again, I was so open to church, and in that season, I recommitted my life to the Lord. And, as I've grown, over the years, that has been my faith journey too. So, and my family has traveled across Canada with my husband's job. So, just the whole, how the church community has been so important in our lives. And so, as we've traveled from province to province, just finding a good, solid, Bible believing church has been so huge, just to, to grow in the faith, and also to encourage others and to serve. So, the faith community has been really a big part of our lives as a family. So,
yeah. How was that? How did that impact your family with the amount of travel that you did? Like, how were you able to manage, like with your husband's career and then you being at home? I'm not sure if you're working outside of the home at that stage, or how did you navigate that time?
Yeah, so I'm a nurse by profession, and so because there was, moving from province to province a bit, so I put my career on hold, but started another career. So I was at home for a number of years and homeschooled my kids, and then felt when I was in Calgary, our last big move, I got my license back, and then started looking at how else can I serve. And at that time, I started volunteering at a pregnancy care center in Calgary.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, I would say still, it's one of the best pregnancy care centers in Canada. And at the time, there was all kinds of different courses that you could take. And I was encouraged to take as much because I had more time on my hands. My kids were in school and what have you. And I was getting back into the work world. And they encouraged me to take, hey, we're having this new executive director course, take it. And I said, well, I'm never going to use it. So why?
Okay.
Long story short, we get transferred back to Hamilton area, and they said on their way out, "Tell me, Lois, there's no pregnancy care centers in Hamilton, Burlington, or Oakville. Maybe you should start." But I said, "Yeah, no, thanks, anyways." But no, it's not happening. But fast forward a year into our journey back here, kids are all in school, and I'm looking for a job. Kind of God saying, "Yeah, there's no pregnancy care centers." I'm thinking, that's not right. Just because I really, I saw the impact of having somebody walk alongside you at people during their pregnancy journey, and before, they're not sure what they're going to do, and just having that somebody walking alongside, saying, "Breathe, we got this, we're here for you," or post-abortion realities, or we have a share program, our sexual health and relationship education, and just going into schools and community groups and just talking critical thinking around healthy relationships and sex and all these life issues. So just saw the impact of that. And there was nothing in this area. So, we started a steering committee, and in 2012, we opened our doors as Pregnancy Support Service of Hamilton, and then opened up our second clinic in our second location in downtown Oakville, and almost 2 years ago now in 2022, went medical in 2020. So yeah, it's been an amazing 12 plus years.
Yeah. Go back to, because I love that concept of the steering committee. Can you talk a little bit about how that unfolded, and how did you corral people, and how did you see God work in that? Because that really is the beginning, the foundation of being able to make the next step to buildings and to staff and to that whole area.
Yeah. So because we were part of Pregnancy Care Canada, and we weren't, because we weren't an entity yet, but they had to open up a center. So I used that as our template to go forward, and just prayed for people that would feel like-minded, and God just opened up doors for people along the way to be on our steering committee, and then to get awareness. And I was working part-time, but I was doing this steering committee and going to churches and all of those sorts of things to make seeing where we're like-minded people, and God opened up those doors in amazing ways. And 3 years later, we opened up our first location, part-time hours, one staff and a bunch of volunteers. And it's just been, moved forward since that time.
Yeah, it's a reminder how we want something really quickly. You all of a sudden had this idea, and you thought, okay, Lord, I've said yes, but I need this committee, and then we need this. And it took the 3 years to get to that first place, and then the number of years next. How did you navigate the waiting on the Lord aspect?
Well, I'm not exactly, I would call a patient person. So it's been a real challenge. God, kind of like, oh, come on, God. But, in retrospect, I see how God has prepared as we've gone on. Like if we'd been given that initially, would we have been able to steward it as well as we're able to now? Like God opens up doors in his time, at a season, And, like going medical. So now all of our clients are seen by registered professionals, whether a registered nurse with our medical stuff or our registered social service worker for our post-abortion support. That is a huge deal. And again, it's the timing of that as well. That happened in 2020 of all the years. Like, we don't want to talk about those years, but
it's part of our history.
We started medical then, and because we had registered professionals, we were able to actually, once the first wave of that, pandemic happened, we were open. We were deemed an essential service because we were providing healthcare.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. And again, really timing, like, God.
It really is timing. It is so true. I love that you brought that up too. Because we all need the reminder that wherever we are at right now, God is working something. It's not wasted. Nothing is wasted, but it's really hard. It's really hard to wait. But I appreciate your encouragement there.
Yeah.
I think for the people that are watching, now that they've heard the term Atwell and your position, maybe let's dive into a little bit about the Atwell in Hamilton and Oakville and what services they provide and what would this look like in those two communities?
Yeah, so we were formed. The reason why we exist was because we want to come alongside women and men as they face an unexpected pregnancy. There's a lot of it can be very complex. Whether you're a teen or whether you're in your 20s, whether you're in what kind of a relationship you're in, the pressures, of our society. All of these things, and the whole, I'm going to be a mother potentially, or what does that mean to my life? And I can't do this, and all of, kind of that whole panic. It can feel very panic-like. Yeah. And so we wanted to come alongside women and men as they make these, the big decisions. They're big decisions no matter what you decide, right? Like, they really are. So we see that as, women become, just continue with their pregnancies. And we also see that with women who don't continue with their pregnancies. So being able to reach out for women that have made a decision and that's not, in retrospect, they're having issues with that. So we wanted to come alongside them with love and compassion and saying, yeah, we're here. We're with you. You don't have to walk this alone. And we're doing this because we love Jesus,
right?
And, so we're a Christian community health agency. So when women come in, they are offered, for an unexpected pregnancy, for example, they're offered holistic healthcare. So we care about, and holistic healthcare means we care about every piece of their life, like, and as they want, if you're not, like, what are the things that you have that are, supportive? Do you have a good relationship with your partner, or is, he's a ball and chain around you? Is he abusive, or is he a good guy? Or parents, or whatever those things are. What are the supportive things? What are the things you need help with? Is it food security? Well, we're not a food bank, but these are the food banks.
Right.
Or, these things. Do I have a place to live? And then do I have healthcare? I don't know, a midwife. So we have these opportunities to help fill some of the gaps and to come alongside. Yeah. And then with our nurses, being able to know, how far along am I actually pregnant? So doing a pregnancy test.
Yeah.
And then being able to do an ultrasound to say, hey, yes, it's not diagnostic. It is just an assessment tool. So knowing that the placement of the pregnancy, is it in the uterus? It's in the fallopian tube? It's in the uterus. Then how far is it viable? Is there a heartbeat? And then how far along I am? Am I 6 weeks? Am I 16 weeks? We've had women in here that are 30 weeks. Like, that's huge. Like, just knowing that information and being able to talk to a nurse. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And then again, back to the post-abortion piece too. Like, you made a decision and it's not sitting well. So being able to come alongside somebody that's, grieving that and saying, hey, we're here, we're not judging, we understand, we've made decisions and that don't always sit with us afterwards, and we're there for you. Well, also, because our medical piece too, we also see people with STIs, or sexually transmitted infections. So for some people, getting tested between partners, not a big deal, but other people, it is a huge deal. Whether it's been a partner that's cheated on them, or all of those sorts of things.
Right. Right.
So being able to talk to somebody, and again, with the holistic care, one of the questions that we have is, do you have a spiritual journey, a religious affiliation? Are you close to God? What does that look like?
Yeah.
And being opening up that
Mhm.
opportunity. And as a Christian organization too, we're able to, ask those questions. And if they're open to it, share our Christian faith and the hope that we have, and pray. So, and
Yeah.
we are able to pray with our clients, which is
Yeah.
it's so beautiful, really,
Yeah.
and
It
share the
really is.
gospel.
Yeah. I mean, any opportunity that you have, um, is it's a place of peace for them. So when they come in
Yes.
there, they're automatically heard and they're seen and they are known, and you are coming alongside of them and caring for them. They're treated so differently than what might be happening to them outside of Atwell. And so it becomes a safe place for them, a place to be heard. And then you have an opportunity to pray, which is such a gift. And it's just not happening in society today. Everything is so quick. Here's a decision, here's your medication, get in, get out, go. But this is like a very personal, caring, and nurturing environment that allows people to breathe and think things through, because now they have knowledge that they may not have had before. And I think that's such a gift that you're giving your clients.
Well, absolutely, totally is, and already this year we've prayed like 127 times, and we've given out 40 Bibles, and
Yes.
all kinds of really cool things, right? As
Yes.
again,
Yes.
client led. And then really our name, we changed our name in 2018 to be Atwell Center. So because it reflected more of what we were doing, which
Okay.
is, it's taken after John 4, which is Jesus's interaction with the Samaritan woman at the well. So
Mhm.
he met her at her place of need in the middle of the
Yes.
day, as basically she's an outcast in her community, and he met her there with love and
Mhm.
compassion. But he was also
Did.
true, right? Like
Yeah.
it was true. Like the guy that you're living with isn't your first husband, right? Like, and like it was what it is. Like just
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
with our clients, like you are pregnant or you're not pregnant. You are have an STI or not, or you have post-abortions issues. So it is what it is. Let us come alongside you in that place, and with
Yeah.
love and compassion and truth, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have any, just like any sort of story that you could share that um, would just just give people a little bit of an understanding of the impact that Atwell has had on clients?
Yeah, oh, there's so
There's
many. I mean,
probably so many.
every area I go to, like I think about, our essential services, whether it's in
Yeah.
our, in our pregnancy uh, assessment, women coming in and just so unsure what to do, or just needing that support, needing somebody to, walk alongside them and say, hey, breathe. I'm thinking of, a couple that came in and really unsure what to do, really abortion minded. They wanted more information, and just
Mhm.
to make, and they wanted to find out what their options were. And then they were very abortion minded, and they just thought, no, it's not the time. We haven't been together that long. Um, yeah, and and we were just getting new in our careers, and et cetera, et cetera. So our nurse did a pregnancy assessment, and they were able to see that their baby was like about fetus was 8 weeks, and they were able to, she took some pictures, and then still felt afterwards that they would like to continue with their abortion plan. And it was kind of like, well,
Mhm.
if you need us, we're here for you if you have
Mhm.
problems with your abortion afterwards. And we follow up with our clients to see how they're doing, and called this couple, this young woman, and said, how are you doing? And she said, well, I got to the abortion clinic, and doctor was giving me the pills to take.
Mhm.
And I'll call him Derek. I looked at Derek and said, um, I can't take these. And he looked at me and said, Jen, I don't want you to take them. And so they left, because they felt like they had enough support, they had enough information to continue.
Yeah.
And that that was just a beautiful moment, just again, information and support.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think about, we've worked with, dozens of women post-abortively, men too, but predominantly women, and through their journey. And one woman saying, after going through our program, I felt like I had on sunglasses, not black glasses, sunglasses for the last 20 years. And I feel like I've taken them off.
Wow. That's a big step. Wow.
Yeah. And she used to wear black all the time. And now she said, I didn't realize I was wearing black all the time, but now I can wear colors.
Wow. That's a really unique expression of like an inward change, right? When it's outward as well, because it's the inward. Outward. Yeah. That is really, really beautiful. It sounds like the clinic itself is just so well-rounded and can meet so many needs of so many different people. And that is such a gift. And I'm sure we could talk about many, many stories.
Oh my goodness. Like I'm just thinking about in our STI clinic, the woman that came in and she'd found out, she was newly separated. She found out her husband of 20 years had been cheating on her and then she needed to be tested, and she had a bit of a faith background, and we were able to talk. She just felt so shamed, and and then she, for some reason, she remembered from a childhood story, about the father, the prodigal son running back to the father. And and she said, do you think that could be me? And it's kind of like, yeah, absolutely.
Yes, it's actually all of us. Yes.
Exactly. So it's kind of like one of those. Yeah. And so she walked out not only with prayer, but she was also interested in the Bible. And so we gave her a Bible as well. Right. So again, that's that holistic care as they're open, like she, and God is in that. And she was in her story too. And so now she's gotten involved with the faith community. She can, which is, again, I obviously feel much for her story. But in this storm, God was there, and God was for her and with us, right?
Absolutely. It's like Atwell is another representation of being Christ's hands and feet. And whenever people come into the clinic, you don't know what is going to happen. And you're just listening to what God has called you to do in the role that you are in, and to offer what you can give with your gifts and your skill sets. And that is really what we're all called to do. And you are being an incredible example and a beacon of light, just like it talks about in the Bible, being a city on a hill. And that's what God wants us to do. He wants to shine the light the light of the gospel. And that's exactly what you're doing for people. And you're changing lives, impacting lives for eternity. Really?
Yeah, just even that, like the ripple effect of, the now not having sunglasses on, like seeing life
really
through a different lens, right? Like, that healing, like that was a profound healing, right? Yeah. So, and I would encourage, like, if anyone is out there that has a post-abortion experience, we're here for you. And sometimes in the Christian community too, there you can feel a little bit more censure, if you will. And we're not judgmental at all. Like, we understand we've all made choices that and sometimes impact us in a way we never anticipated.
Yeah, definitely. So if anyone out there is watching and they are interested in volunteering or helping or coming alongside Atwell, what would you recommend to some of their first steps to be?
Well, pray for us because, we are a faith-based organization, and we really, really appreciate prayer. Prayer is huge for us. So if you could pray for us, we would love that. But also volunteer with us. We have different volunteer opportunities in the center, whether that's administrative, whether it's going through. We have a baby boutique, which has got children's clothing, 0 to 2, gently used, as well as gently used maternity clothes. So sorting that, all those sorts of things, and administrative stuff. So we have 2 locations. So one in Oakville and one in Hamilton. So, different opportunities administratively too, so there's a lot of opportunities. And then also we are a Christian charity. So we have some fundraisers. So, we have a baby bottle. It's called Formula for Hope. And it's an opportunity to support us and talk about life with your family. Who brings life, who takes it away, and you fill up a baby bottle, or you can give online a virtual baby bottle as well. Some people are doing, and then because we are a charity, you can tax receipt anything over $20. And we also have a golf tournament that is going to be happening on June the 6th at Carlisle Golf and Country Club. Would love for you to join us. And you can give online there too. Registration is online at wellcenter.ca. And so those are opportunities.
Lots of options, lots of opportunities. Well, that's great. Maybe before we just kind of finish off today, is there any sort of, I think we talked earlier, some of the questions were about a worship song or a verse or something that's really been impactful for you. And if you share it today, I'm sure it will be very impactful for somebody else listening.
Yeah. So, I was thinking the question, like, what is one of my favorite songs? Well, back in the day, a lot of people will not know Keith Green. I like Keith Green, but
I love Keith.
But my newest one is I love Holy Forever with Chris Tomlin.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just been going through my head. And then it's not old, but it's not new either. And I can only imagine. I still tear up when I hear that. When I really meditate, how am I going to be in that day? Right? Wow. I can only imagine. Anyways, those are my two. But yeah.
It's a great movie too. I Can Only Imagine.
Oh yeah. I saw the movie too. It was very impactful.
Very, very impactful. So that's amazing. Well, Lois, you know what? Everything you're doing is really just such a gift, and your team and how they serve. And we're so thankful for you. And I'm so glad that we can be together today to highlight this so people know that right in their community, there is something really special going on. And it's there for encouragement and for help, and to ultimately have people realize they are not alone. And that is so important today, because loneliness really is a very serious issue. And especially when you add on unexpected things that are happening with you and your health and your body, and it can become very isolating. So I'm very thankful that you and your team are here to do this.
Thank you. You know what, we do have an amazing team, really, amazing professionals and caring women in our team. And so we're very grateful for our team.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I haven't been to the Hamilton location. I am going to get there. The Oakville one I have, and it's just beautiful. As soon as you walk in there, it's just warmth and acceptance and love and grace. And it's really beautiful in there. So and total
God thing. Both of these centers are total God thing.
Yeah, that's for another session of chatting.
Absolutely. So thank you for taking time with me, though, Sandy. I really appreciate you and your ministry, and looking forward to Can I Take It to Heaven to read.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you will have a copy very soon in your hands. And thank you so much for being here today, for your time, and for what you're doing. And we'll continue to pray for your ministry. So thank you, Lois, for being with us today.
All right. Well, thank you.